This is He Knows the Sport, bringing you that heat and that far. We keeping a foot on the what? On the next. We keeping a foot on the what? On the next. And like the Tibetan mastiff that I am, I'm applying what? Unlimited pressure. Because pressure does what? It bursts pipes. Now let's talk about it, man. Kobe Bean Bryant has the most fascinating career we've ever seen in the NBA. Matter of fact, it's also the most fascinating and the most polarizing. Let me explain, because I'm going to go through a little timeline here. So hear me and hear me fucking well. As a matter of fact, hear me and hear me well. Here's the cold-hearted, here's the unadulterated, and here's the cutthroat true teller fashion. Kobe Bryant, born on August 23rd, 1978. We're going to fast forward a little bit. Kobe Bryant went to Italy because his dad was in the NBA. No longer could play in the NBA, so he was playing overseas. Kobe Bryant in Italy broadened his horizons, learned multiple languages, stayed there for a number of years. But see, what happened was, in broadening your horizons at that early age, you're kind of forced to grow up. So Kobe Bryant basically had to understand what pressure was all about immediately, because he was not in America. He was not in a foreign, he was not in a familiar or complacent environment. From the jump, Kobe Bryant was already forced to have to think on his feet, have to be cut against the grain, because he had to learn the foreign language because he was dealing with foreign affairs. He mastered it. He grew up before his time, because this happens to people like this when they're faced with these types of consequences or in these types of situations in life. And consequences necessarily not a bad thing, because there's good consequences and there's bad consequences, but I'll talk about that in another instance. Then we fast forward a little bit. Kobe Bryant comes back to Philadelphia after a number of years in Italy, versed in multiple languages, is considered antisocial or considered weird because he's already more developed mentally and physically than the kids that are in Philadelphia. Then is put in Lower Merion High School. Over there, Kobe Bryant does unprecedented feats that we haven't seen since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. No one talks about that. Kobe Bryant, just like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, has done unprecedented feats in high school. Go research it. Then instead of going to Duke, which was a team that he was looking at, or North Carolina, because he looked up to Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant put in his stock to be in the NBA. And see, people talk about LeBron James in 03-04, but really 96, 97, that year, when Kobe Bryant put in for him to go to the NBA, that was what LeBron James situation was. It just didn't have social media presence behind it, but it was just as big or not impactful. Kobe Bryant goes into the league from 96 to 2000. He goes through growing pains because he's playing off of the bench, but go look at what he did when he was on the bench. Kobe Bryant was putting up stats on the bench that a bench player cannot do. He was basically the greatest bench player. Whatever Kobe Bryant did, if he wasn't the greatest one, then he was the closest one. It was that Jay-Z terminology. If I ain't better than Big, then I'm the closest one, dog. Let me say it again. If I ain't better than Big, then I'm the closest one. Well, that's what Kobe Bean Bryant was in his iteration. And he proved Dale Harris right. And once he got the starting job and he earned it over Eddie Jones, Kobe Bryant went the fuck off. Then Kobe Bryant showed you by year 3 that he was starting to master the game, because Kobe Bryant was learning the game of basketball at an accelerated pace. Then Phil Jackson shows up. Then they fucking three-peat. Kobe Bryant doesn't get credit for the heavyweight lifting that he did from round 1 to round 3. But Shaquille O'Neal gets the heavyweight credit because Kobe Bryant was like, okay, it's the NBA Finals. You're playing against a barbecue chicken center, so I don't need to do no more heavyweight lifting. I already did the major heavyweight lifting to get us to the NBA Finals. No one sees that. But see, if you do your research, if you're quantified, calculated, and verified, you would know this. And then after that, they tried to win a 4th NBA title, but Shaq starts to get really fat as fuck, out of shape, making excuses. Well, the chicken jumped in front of my vehicle, or the rooster jumped in front of my vehicle, and that's why I couldn't make it to practice. I have actual articles where Shaquille O'Neal's making bullshit excuses like this. This is why I call him Big L fucking stupido. That's where that terminology comes from. Then Shaquille O'Neal puts in NBA convenient minds that Kobe Bryant was to blame, because obviously Kobe had the Colorado situation that happened as well too. So that put a strain on things. And then Shaquille O'Neal, because people are adverse Kobe is the most polarizing figure the NBA's ever seen. Remember, hence, most fascinating and most polarizing. They found a way to blame this shit on Kobe Bean Bryant. It is what it is. But Kobe Bryant wanted to prove that he was greatness personification outside of Shaquille O'Neal. Because when you have that level of greatness that's bottled up, you want to prove to the world that you're great. And you want to prove to the world that you're bigger than, and you're more than Mystiage. You are a transformer. You are Optimus Prime. And that's what he did. But see, the Los Angeles Lakers screwed Kobe Bryant over. They made him miss in a few years of his prime, those years after Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal went on to win a 4th title with Dwayne Wade. But it wasn't because of Shaq. It was because of Dwayne Wade's heavyweight lifting. Shaq was already done by that point. And then people realized, and Rudy Poo and Plum Plum bring classic Dodie Troglodyte, ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoric fashion that hold up. Kobe, it made sense. And then people realized that Jerry Buss was the one that was behind it. Yes, the late great Jerry Buss. He was the one that said that I went with the younger talent. It was business. Business is business. It ain't fucking personal. And when you got a guy that's 25 years old and you got another guy that's 32, who the fuck are you going to pick? The 32-year-old aging guy or the 25-year-old guy, especially the 32-year-old aging guy that doesn't take care of his body? So really, he's pushing to 40. So it was business. And it fucking worked out because Kobe Bryant signed a 7-year deal. And what did Kobe Bryant do in those 7 years? He tore the shit up, the fuck up. But the Los Angeles Lakers did not give him a Jason Kidd in those years. Did not give him a Chris Bosh in those years. Did not give him a Kevin Garnett in those years. These were the players that Kobe Bryant wanted, couldn't get. But ultimately opted for Paul Gasol. This is how you know Kobe Bryant's greatness personification can only be hindered. It can't be stopped. Let me say it again. This is how you know Kobe Bryant's greatness personification can only be hindered. It can't be stopped. He got a superstar that he didn't even fucking want. Shout outs to Richie Rich. Because he said that in the last live. He said that ether, that shit that make your soul burn slow. And I got to give him the ultimate cold-hearted, unadulterated, cutthroat, true kind of fashion credit for that. He played with a superstar that he didn't even want, and he repeated. Michael Jordan did 2 3-peats. Kobe Bryant did a 3-peat and a repeat. Let me say it again. Michael Jordan did two 3-peats. Kobe Bryant did a 3-peat and a repeat. But he doesn't get credit for that. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, And then after that, 2011, Kobe Bryant was going to go on a 3-peat run, but he got injured. And that's why the Dallas Mavericks were able to go off the way they did. Trust and believe, if Kobe Bryant did not get injured, there was no way that Dallas Mavericks team was going to beat that Los Angeles Lakers team in 2011. People forgot that shit. Kobe was injured that whole fucking playoff series. That's why the Dallas Mavericks ramalanged the way they fucking did. Because without KB24, the anchor, how can the Los Angeles Lakers get the fuck off? And then Kobe Bryant went the next few years after that. Even with the bullshit ass, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but in actuality, 2 out of fucking 4, 50%, which is low repulsive. Because if you put Kobe Bryant on that team, they 4 out of 4 easily. Michael Jordan, Jeffrey Jordan, you put them on that team, they're 4 out of 4 easily. But Kobe Bryant still proved his greatness through stats, still kept the Los Angeles Lakers in contention. Then we fast forward all the way up to 2013. Kobe Bryant in Vino mode, dominating. This man is now a few steps past his prime, but he's shutting down LeBron James and NBA All-Stars, locking his fucking ass up. Having Michael Jordan say, this guy's just as cursed as I am, man. Kobe Bryant deserves the comparison. And then this guy ultimately ends up having an Achilles injury. But he still shows you in the midst of that darkness and that cloudiness that he was going to come back. And he played 3 extra years that I didn't want him to fucking play, but he played it nevertheless because I wanted Kobe Bryant's ass out of there by year 17. I was done with him by year 17. When I said that, I meant it because I was like, I felt that that's what his body could give. But Kobe Bryant said, no, I'm going to show you guys, even in the midst of what I'm dealing with, I'm going to be successful here. I'm going to be triumphant and I'm going to push through it. And he gave us 3 more years. Those 3 years showed me a lot about Kobe Bryant's resilience. It showed me a lot about who he was. This is what we've seen in the 41 years of this man's life. Fascination and yet polarization at the same breath and the same time. I mean, it's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, Kobe Bean Bryant did this. And then he left the NBA, won an Academy Award. Basically became just as successful as a businessman as he was a basketball player. Put all of his drive into that. Became a super dad. and showed people how you can be a better dad. Damn near even inspired Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan talked about this when he had another crying MJ emoji. And he said, Kobe Bryant showed me how to be a better dad. This is what Kobe Bryant does. He makes even the GOATs lift their level of competition up because Kobe Bryant's always pushing towards greatness personification. There will not be another KB24, man. Guys like that come out once in every lifetime of a generation. Then we fast forward to January, 26. We know what happened this year in Calabasas, California. That shit teared me up. But it was a gut-wrenching thing. It was a interesting moment. But Kobe Bryant passes away via helicopter crash because he was being a super dad to try to take his daughter to a basketball game. This is what his life looked like. Business. Him basically having venture capital firms. Him basically doing book writings. Him winning more, and he was probably going to win more Academy Awards. And him basically taking that same competitive fuel and that same competitive fire and putting it into something else because Kobe Bryant exacerbated his whole self in basketball. So he was done with it because he put every inch and every ounce into it. So now it was about putting every inch and every ounce into something else. This is why Kobe Bryant could be looked like as a Tupac of basketball. Because that's how Tupac was, putting every inch and every ounce of himself and his fiber and his being. Literally what you're getting from a Tupac or a Kobe Bryant is their souls. And he knows the sport is like that on his platform. So that I can understand that. Because I put my soul in each and every single video that I do. So I understand giving that 110% excellence and personification and standard that people expect. This is why after I drop a video, I'm fucking drained. Because you're getting all of me literally thrown at you. That's why it's exciting. It's wordplay. It's interesting. It's riveting. It's everything because you're getting all of Hinos' sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. And keeping the foot on the what? On the next. And keeping the foot on the what? On the next. But that's what you got with Kobe B. Bryant. You got him unlimited. But see, great ones like that, they're not meant to be around forever. But he also did tell Tracy McGrady that I don't want to be on this planet for a long time. I want to die young. And it looks like that premonition, it looks like that predetermination actually ended up happening. Kobe Bryant in 41 years gave us fascination and greatness personification and polarization on top of that. I mean, he gave us a conglomerate of what we could prescribe to be when we think of greatness personification. This is why repulsive when people actually try to compare LeBron, Ramon James, the greatest of all trolls, to a guy like Kobe Bean Bryant, the second GOAT, the guy that MJ goated. So this is why he knows the sport has to pay homage to KB24 and give you this lifeline of a guy that was fascinating, a guy that was polarizing, but a guy that had greatness personification that can only be hindered, but it can't be stopped. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat detail of fashion. Kobe Bryant's career kept the foot on the what? On the next. Kobe Bryant's career kept the foot on the what? On the next. KB24, rest in peace, man. You get the biggest salute of the damn day. This is Hinos' Sport. Checking out.